Hello everyone. Good afternoon everyone. I'm presented with yet another session on etymology. We had a detailed discussion yesterday and we discussed a lot of roots and a lot of words derived from those roots. Today I'm going to have some more roots for vocabulary building. But before that, let me tell you a bit about myself. My name is Neelam Malkani. I'm going to be a facilitator for CAT and other management exams. I possess around 12 years of experience and I have trained the aspirants of CAT, GRE, GMAT and Plac. My areas of expertise have been English and critical reasoning. I have also set and designed assessment papers of English and reasoning for various government bodies as well as for professional bodies. I have also served as an examiner of English for assessing writing and speaking of aspirants taking an international exam. Recently, I have authored a comprehensive book of English for the preparation of competitive exams. This video is brought to you by Unacademy, India's largest learning platform for the preparation of various competitive exams. Let me tell you a bit about Unacademy and let me take you step by step on its platform and tell you how you can be part of this platform and join it for your preparation. You have to download the app, the Unacademy app, Unacademy Learning app. After the installation, you will be shown different features such as Plus, free courses and special classes. If you want to attend CAT classes, you have to go in the Plus category. You have to choose the category of Plus. Once you go in that, you will be shown all the products which are served under the category of Plus, such as CAT, GRE, IELTS, CS and other courses. You have to go for CAT, and once you go for the subscription, you will be shown all the features which you will be given under this product, such as 30 hours of live sessions every day. From these 30 hours live session, you can choose as per your convenience, as per your choice, as per your availability, right? These courses are well structured and well designed by experienced faculties who have extensive experience of training, mentoring students for years. 40 plus top educators of India who possess wealth of experience of guiding and teaching. Every month, a new course on the portal is launched. When you go to choose the subscription, you will be shown all the modules of subscription. You will have to choose as per your requirement and as per your suitability. You can choose for a 1 month subscription or you can go for a year subscription depending on which exam you are targeting. If you are targeting CAT 2020, you can go for 1 year subscription. If you want to target 2020 and want to attend crash course and some specific classes which are targeted at CAT 20, you can attend and you can go for 1 month subscription. Alright, if you want to avail 10% discount in your fee, you can type the code Neelam and then you will be able to avail 10% discount. Alright, so let's get started with today's session. If you remember, yesterday we discussed 6 or 7 rules, and with that we try to learn as many as 50-60 words, right? In today's session as well, I have taken some very important rules from which you can learn plenty words. Let's begin with alter, right? I'm not going to give you the meaning of alter. You try to devise the meaning as you go on the words which are derived or which are based on this root. All right. First word. I have taken a very simple word to begin with. The word is alteration. So when you get alteration done in your clothes, you try to change them. You try to get them mended, right? So you want to change in your pattern, in your design, or maybe in the size. That's why you get your clothes altered, right? So alter here is for change. So alteration is used for change something, right? That makes it different, right? So major or minor minor alteration. So that means major or minor changes, right? So there is an alteration in plan. Instead of class at 1:30, the class will begin at 2:30. So there is an alteration in the timing of the class, right? So alteration is nothing but change. Alternate. So the classes do not happen every day. The classes happen every alternate day, every other day. If you have classes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so the classes are happening every alternate day. They are not happening successively every day. All right. So alternate is used this way. When you see a cake with an alternate layer of cream, cheese, and cake, so that is an alternate layer, right? So if after every other layer, you get to see, different layers. So every other is the meaning of alternate. Alternative. So if in case you do not do well in CAT, what is your alternative, right? You do not succeed in CAT this year, what is your alternative? Are you going to sit for campus? Are you going to take other management exams? Or are you going to go for a job, right? So what is your alternative? So alternative is other option, right? So if not this, this is going to work. So plan B is your alternative. So alternative is a thing that you can choose to do or have out of two or more possibilities. So other option, other thing that you have to choose from is your alternative. Your alter ego. You might have seen this web series which features Abhishek Bachchan, right? So there are two parts of his personality. He has split personality, right? So one part does not know the existence of other, right? So that is alter ego. That kind of personality is alter ego. Though it does not come for such cases only, it's also used in other contexts. But just to make you understand, alter ego is other half of your personality, which is entirely different, or which you may not know exist in your own personality. So that is alter ego. Their example can be Superman's alter ego was Clark Kent, right? So alter ego is other half of your personality. Alter ego is also used for person who is very similar, who is very similar to you, who has same liking as you have, who looks as you do. So a person who is similar in some or the other way, that is also your alter ego. Your friend can also be your alter ego, a person who has same hobbies, same interests, same preferences, or same kinds of habits, right? So that is also alter ego. But so the origin of this word is the other half of your personality, right? So here, a person whose personality is different from your own, but who shows or act as another side of your personality. You might have seen this movie Aspirants as well, right? So in that as well, you see split personality. So he does not know that the other part of his personality exists, right? So radically, which is radically different. So that is the alter ego of that person. All right. I hope you must have come to know about the meaning of alter here. Alter is to change. So alteration is to change, to bring change. We have made a lot of amendments to our constitution. So we have altered our constitution to a great extent. It is not as it was in the original form when it was implemented. So alteration. Alternate. So every alternate year we have Commonwealth meeting. So it does not happen every year, but every alternate year. Alternative. So what is going to be the alternative of corona vaccine, right? So if we don't have vaccine in place, then what is going to be the alternative? So what is going to be the other option? Alter ego, other half of your personality, altruist. Now, so a person who thinks about others, a person who thinks about others' welfare, a person who is selfless is altruist. So he thinks about others, that's why he is selfless. He's not centered around his own interest. So a person whose personality is different from your own, okay, so altruist is a person who is selfless, kind, magnanimous, a person who does a lot of charity. Basically, altruistic person is driven by serving others, helping others, thinking about others' welfare. All right. So altruist and altruistic. Altruistic will be adjective here. Now try to apply these words in these sentences. So a very brief definition is given. Let's see if you are able to recall these words. So one's other self. So one's other self is nothing but alter ego. Alright? To change. So to change is to alteration. You alter something, that means you change something. A heated dispute. So, alright. So altercation is another word, right? So altercation is a kind of, fierce argument with someone. It's a very heated argument with someone because you have other opinion. You don't conquer with others' opinion. You don't share others' opinion. You argue, you bicker, or you express your opinion assertively. So you have an altercation, right? So the argument leads to an altercation. That means it leads to a dispute. It leads to verbal argument. Altercation is jhagda, squabble, right? So altercation is also related with other because you have other opinion, you have other set of belief. That is why you have altercation with people. All right. So a heated dispute is altercation. Excess. Okay. Fourth. Unselfish, more interested in the welfare of others than in one's own. So that is going to be altruistic. A choice is going to be an alternative. One who substitute for the others, that is alternate, right? Not every other day, not every day, but every other day. So that's going to be substitute. All right. Now let's see next root here. The root is GRE. Now again, I'll ask you to come up with the meaning of this root as I explain you the meaning of these words. So gregarious is first word with root GRE. It comes for a person who is extremely extrovert and sociable. Remember the word we did yesterday, convivial, with root VIV. So we had vivacious, convivial, bon vivant, joie de vivre, and revive. All these words with VIV, life root, right? So gregarious is synonymous with convivial, as convivial is a person who likes to talk to others, who likes to have companionship, who likes to go and talk to people. So is gregarious. He loves to be around with people. He loves to be surrounded by people. So gregarious is somebody who has liking to be with other people, who cannot live in solitude, who cannot have a solitary existence, but a person who loves to be around with people and have companionship. Congregate is to come together in a group. So when you congregate, usually this grouping happens because you are going for a religious purpose. You are possibly going for a pilgrimage, or you are attending a ceremony, or you are going for a religious sermon, right? So this kind of gathering, this kind of grouping is congregation, right? So the origin of the word is from religion, but this can be used for other contexts as well, right? So in Bhopal, there is a congregation of huge Siberian birds every day. So they come in huge number. They come to Bhopal in huge number from Russia and from Siberia, right? So when there is investor meet organized by Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh or other states, there is a congregation of different businessmen and investors. So the congregation is nothing but group, gathering, all right? So congregation originated from a religious ceremony, but eventually it led to, any kind of grouping, any kind of gathering. So coming together in a huge number. Segregate. Segregation. So there is a racial segregation, there is social segregation, there is religious segregation. People are segregated on different lines. I hope you, from these statements, you could have, gather the meaning of the word. Segregate is to disparate. Segregate is to group people in separately. So segregate is to isolate people. So segregate किया जाता है अलग-अलग basis पे. Like I said, people are segregated on racial lines, right? So there was racial segregation in America. right? So which was protested by a lot of people, including Martin Luther King. So people like Martin Luther King objected or protested against racial segregation. So people were segregated on the line on the basis of their color, on the basis of their skin color, right? So this way segregation happened. In India, you see segregation happens on the basis of community, right? So some community is segregated, another community is not, right? So that way you see segregation happens. So segregation is to isolate people, to separate people of different race, religion or sexes and treat them in a different way. So segregation actually connotes negative meaning, alright? Aggregate, so you aggregate your marks. So the marks that you score or secure in first year, second year, third year, aggregate and lead to your CGPA, make your CGPA. So that is aggregation. So grouping together. So aggregation is nothing but a total number or amount made up of smaller amounts. So your first year, second year, third year will make the aggregate. Egregious. So that's also a word derived from this root GRE. Now, you might have come to the meaning of GRE by now. That means grouping. So gregarious is a person who loves to be with be with people. Congregate is to grouping together for a specific purpose. Segregate is to get away from the group, go away from the group, depart from the group. So group is the word which is binding all these words. Group is the word which is common among the spelling of these words. Egregious. Egregious is extremely bad, right? Something which is deplorable, something which is absolutely dismal. So egregious, extremely bad. So egregious behavior or egregious error. So if I want to exemplify, I would take the example of recent Hathras case. So any kind of crime is unpardonable, whether it's a trivial crime or it's hardcore crime. Yet, as per the magnitude of crime, as per the the enormity of crime, you see it as an egregious crime, right? You see it as an egregious error made not only by criminals but also by law enforcement agencies, right? So egregious error because we anyway have been seeing or observing these cases happening across India. But what happened there was an egregious case. It caught everyone's attention. So it caught everyone's attention not for something favorable, not for something positive, but for extremely, extremely negative thing, right? So that was an egregious case of rape or egregious, error by local administration. Alright, so something which is extremely bad. Because now how it is related with group? So all kinds of crime can be grouped, but this is so bad that it cannot be grouped with that kind of crime. It is so bad, it is so pathetic that it stands out for its bad reason, for its negativity, right? So that is why it is related with grouping, that stands for egregious. Okay, so very quickly, a recap: gregarious, sociable person. Congregate is to come together in a huge number, especially for religious purpose, but also in other contexts. Segregate is to separate people on the basis of race, religion, or sex. Aggregate is to come together, or made up. So a big amount which is made up of small amount. And egregious is extremely bad. Outstandingly bad. Now, see if you can put these words or the meaning of words in these sentences. Enjoying groups and companionship. So the word here is gregarious. A religious flock. So flock is a group of people who move together, go together, stay together. So a religious flock is nothing but a congregation. So congregation will be a noun, congregate will be a verb. A total, whole or mass. So when you take small amount of something and make a total or mass, that is aggregate. To separate from the rest. So that is segregate. Segregate is to separate something from the rest. on the basis of race, caste or sex. To come together in a group or mass, so that's say, that is congregate. Alright, third root for today is PLAC. The first word with this root is placate. So when a friend is upset with you, or if a family member is unhappy with you, you try to pacify them. You try to change their hostility into friendship, right? With all the gestures, with all your efforts, you try to change, or you try to restore your relationship with them, right? So you try to placate them. Pacify comes from Pacific Ocean, right? So Pacific is Prashant Mahasagar. So Prashant is Pacific. So pacify is to calm somebody down, right? Same is placate, alright? So placate and pacify both is to calm somebody down, to woo somebody, to soothe somebody, especially somebody who is upset, disgruntled or angry with you. So placate, to make somebody feel less angry about something. You try to placate your mother. When you make a mistake, you try to placate her by apologizing, by gifting her something, or by doing certain stuff that she likes. So you try to placate her. Implacable, just kind of opposite here. So a person who is so upset, or a person who is so angry about something, or who is so staunch about something that you cannot change his belief, his opinion about that thing, right? So he's so adherent on that thing. So this word can be used in two ways. One, a person who is so angry that he cannot be pacified is implacable. So Pakistan is an implacable enemy for us, right? It's a kind of nation which can never be friends with, possibly, because so implacable is somebody who cannot be changed into friend, right? So somebody who is angry, or somebody who is full of hostility, cannot be turned into friend. So that is implacable, that cannot be changed. Implacable hatred. So when you have implacable hatred for someone, it is beyond you to love that, or it is beyond you to change your feeling for that person, right? So that is. Second, unwilling to stop opposing somebody or something. So that is also implacable. So when I say Narendra Modi seems to be implacable on the issue of corruption, so the sentence conveys that on corruption he does not compromise. On the issue of corruption, his stand is very strong. He has a very firm position on corruption, and he is going to follow that. He is going to adhere to that. So that is what is implacable. So implacable person can also be a person who is extremely principled, and on that issue he cannot be changed. So it is used in two ways. Alright? Complacent. So PLA basically stands for peace. Alright? So complacent is somebody who is so pleased with something, or who is so contented with something, that he does not need, or he does not feel any need to change something. So too satisfied with yourself or with a situation, so that you do not feel that any change is necessary, showing or feeling complacency. So when you feel complacent, you feel you are best. You don't need any improvement. You don't need to, do anything to improvise yourself. You are too much conceited with what you possess, or what you are, right? So you don't need any room for improvement. So that is complacency. Too much pleased about something, or too much satisfied about something leads to complacency. So organizations cannot be complacent about their growth. They will have to keep innovating in order to survive in this cutthroat competition, right? They cannot be complacent. If they have registered growth in one quarter, they cannot be complacent. That means they cannot stop there. They cannot be satisfied with that kind of growth. They will have to strive to, have better growth. So that is how complacency is used. So if you score very well in one mock, you cannot be complacent that you are going to score very well in your exam, right? Scoring well in one mock cannot translate into good result in your actual exam. So you cannot be complacent. You will have to keep working on your areas of improvement, and then possibly you can ensure excellence in your exam. All right. So complacency and complacent. So complacency will be noun, complacent will be adjective. When you call somebody complacent, he's too pleased, too satisfied with what he has. So he is at peace. This is how PLAC root is associated with it. Placid. Another word with this root. Not easily excited or annoyed. So when you see a placid environment, or placid lake, or placid water, that means there are no ruffles in the water, right? And when you see placidity in environment, there is complete calm and tranquility, right? So no disturbance, no chaos, no confusion, is complete placidity, right? So a lot of people go for a morning walk because they want to have their walk in complete placidity. In morning, there is no hustle and bustle of people, there's no chaos of traffic. So they want to go for a walk in the morning because they want to enjoy the placidity of environment, placidity of nature, right? So placid, when somebody has placid temperament, the person cannot be agitated easily. You cannot provoke that person very easily. The person is completely calm and composed, right? So a placid baby, so a baby who possibly does not cry very easily. A placid horse who does not get agitated easily. The cattle are placid, so easy to work with, right? So they are easy to maneuver, they are easy to work with. All right, so placid. I hope you are clear. The placid can be for calm and tranquility. Placebo, a very interesting word which is often used by medical practitioners. So placebo is a substance which is used in medicines which has no physical effect, right? So placebo is any substance which has no medicinal property, which is not going to cure any disease. But when it is given to a person, when it is prescribed to a person who believes that he is suffering from some kind of ailment, he has some kind of disease, and it is going to be treated by a medicine only, doctors prescribe placebo. Right? So they do not see any sign of ailment in that patient or in that person. But in order to calm that effect, in order to calm that nervous effect or panic effect, they give them placebo. And surprisingly, placebo also works. When they consume these drugs or the substance, they start to feel that their pain is relieved, right? So this is how placebo effect works in different patients. A lot of doctors prescribe placebo medicine. A lot of people actually believe homeopathy is nothing but placebo. It works on placebo effect. All right. So placebo is something which soothes you, which calms you, which calms your nerves, which brings peace in your mind. So that is what is placebo. Again, the word comes from Plac. That means that the root which comes from peace. All right. So let's revise this slide. Placate is to pacify, is to mollify someone, is to try to calm somebody down, especially somebody who is angry at you. Implacable, somebody who cannot be calmed down, who is so angry, who is so upset, who is so unflustered with you that he cannot be calmed down. Same, implacable is also used for a person who is strong supporter of a specific ideology. Complacent, too much pleased or too much satisfied with oneself or about something. Placid is calmness. Complete tranquility is placidity. Placebo is calming effect, something which calms you down. Okay, so let's quickly check how much understanding we have gathered of these words. So change hostility into friendliness. Okay, so that is placate, all right? So when you try to please someone, when you try to mollify someone by your loving gestures, so you try to change your hostility into friendliness. Who cannot be pacified. The person who cannot be pacified is implacable. Too pleased with oneself is complacent. A substance that brings calming effect was the last word we did in the previous slide, that is placid. Calm and serene, that is placid. Placid and placidity, different forms of same word. Placidity will be noun, placid will be adjective. Alright? Alright, so I have been taking up roots with speaking. In last session, if you remember, I took root LOCU, LOQU, and we did a couple of words with that root, such as loquacious, circumlocution, elocution, ventrilocution, grandilocution, and magnilocution, right? Now, we have one more root for speaking only, right? Speaking is such a profound form of communication that it has been given as many as 3 roots, right? So there are 3 roots which are based on speaking only, all right? So we are coming on the second root for speaking, VOC. So the first word which I would like to take on from this slide is vocal. Let's start with the second word in the slide. So vocal is to be assertive about your opinion. When you state very clearly about your belief or about your opinion, about your experience, you are vocal, right? So the word is different from vocal artist. So when you say vocal artist, so that is different. But when you say he is vocal, so that means he is very assertive that he states something, right? So he clearly expresses his opinion, his views when it comes to a specific issue he feels strongly about. So telling people your opinion or protesting about something loudly and with confidence. So if you remember this Hathras case, now people became vocal there, right? So earlier people were timid, people were not coming out and sharing inputs with media and journalists, but gradually they mustered courage and they became vocal. They started sharing their opinion. They started, voicing their opinion about the injustice they saw happening there, right? So that is vocal. Being vocal is to state clearly and assertively with confidence what you feel and what your opinion is. So he has been very vocal in his criticism of government's policy, right? So he does not, mince his words. So very clearly he states that on this policy government is wrong and on this policy government possibly has to do something else. So this way he is very vocal, all right? So vocal is to state very clearly what you feel. Vociferous, another word which we will see. So vociferous comes for a person who expresses his opinion in a very loud and confident way. So the word is marked by loudness. When you sometimes yell, you raise the decibel sound of your voice and you state something with sheer confidence, that is vociferous. So the adjective is vociferous, verb is going to be vociferate. Vociferate your opinion, right? So when you see some debates happening on different media channels, or when you see discussion happening on these news channels, you see somebody or you identify somebody as vociferous speaker, because that person is speaking extremely loudly, right? He's making his point heard, but the same way he's speaking very loudly, right? So that is what is vociferous. And equivocal. Now this is a combination of 2 roots, equi and vocal. So equi is equal, right? So equilateral is the imaginary line which divides this earth into 2 hemispheres, that is equilateral. So equi comes for equal. Voc comes for speaking. So we have one word with equivocal saying or characterizing a kind of speaking where person speaks in equal way. He does not state categorically what he feels or what his views are, right? So that is what is equivocal. You are speaking on both sides. right? You're not having, clearly stating what your views are, right? So that is what equivocal. Most of the time, politicians speak in a very equivocal way, right? So when they give opinion on something, they try to be diplomatic. They don't clearly state what they feel about an issue, right? So they see their party line, they actually follow what their party, is saying or asking them to say before media, then only they say something. Before that, they become equivocal in their opinion or in their views about certain issues. So equivocal is not having one clear or definite meaning or intention, able to be understood in more than one way. So equivocal is also something which is ambiguous, right? So equivocal is also a term which can be interpreted in two ways because it is not expressed or stated clearly. So equivocal, दो तरीके से बोलना, दो तरफा बोलना, not taking a definite position, not taking a definite side. Just opposite is unequivocal, very clearly, categorically, right? Without mincing your word. Calling a spade is speaking unequivocally, without any doubt, without any ambiguity. You state clearly whose side you are, what your opinion is, what you believe in, right? So expressing your opinion or intention very clearly and strongly. An unequivocal rejection, right? So that is without any hitch, she rejected. Unequivocal rejection. The answer was an unequivocal no. Without ifs and buts, the answer was no. It was an unequivocal no, right? So you can understand by these examples what unequivocal means. Stating very clearly what you feel or what your views are. Advocate, another root. VOC coming in this root, advocate. When you advocate, you espouse an idea. You advocate, when you advocate, you support an idea or an ideology. So a person, so advocate is also used for a person, advocate is also used as a verb. I advocate girl education, so that means I support it, right? So I vocally express my opinion about girls' education. So a person who supports or speak in favor of somebody or of a public plan or action, right? So advocate. So a lot of people are advocating child rights, right? A lot of people are advocating environment protection, advocating for environment protection. So they have been speaking assertively that environment has to be protected. So advocate is to, again, to support or to espouse a theory or a belief or an ideology. All right? So vociferous, stating loudly, saying, speaking loudly, confidently as well as loudly. So this word is marked by loudness. So whenever the word comes for filling in the blank, you have to see specifically that the context has to be with loudness. Vocal is to state clearly and assertively what you mean, right? So speaking clearly, not being timid, not being diffident or shy about your opinion. If you remember, we did this word yesterday, diffident, just opposite of confident. So diffident, when you are vocal, you are not diffident, you are confident. Equivocal, right? So equivocal, that means speaking in a confusing way, speaking in an ambiguous way. You're not clear, you're not definite, so you are equivocal. Opposite, unequivocal, absolutely clear and coherent. Advocate is to espouse, is to support, to say something in support. Now fill one of these words in the given sentence. So the sentence is, anti-war activist, my aunt, travels across the country making speeches about the destruction caused by war. So a dash anti-war activist. So what kind of activist should she be? Vociferous, equivocal, advocate. So advocate is not fitting here because advocate will be preceded by article A or N, right? Equivocal, is also has the same problem. Article A or N should be there, and equivocal is also not the correct word here, because she is speaking clearly that she is against war, because she has been making speeches about the destruction caused by war. So she is very clear that war should not happen, right? So she is not equivocal. So here the answer is a vociferous anti-war activist travels across the world, right? So here vociferous would be the right word in the context, because she speaks confidently, so she speaks in a very loud way. When you make speech, you want yourself to be heard. You want to make a mark in your audience, so you speak loudly. All right, we come to the last root of the day, spect. So spect, as I'm wearing spectacles, so spect come for seeing, watching, looking, right? So let's start with the words which are based on this root. So introspect, you introspect. After you take a mock of cat, you should introspect. You should go into soul searching and see what mistakes you are making, what kind of pattern of mistake you are making again and again in every mock. So introspect. When you make a decision, introspect what you really want from that decision. So introspect. When you have a quarrel, an argument, you introspect. That means you analyze yourself, whether you have made a mistake, or whether you need to correct something, or whether you need to reevaluate your belief. So the careful examination of your own thoughts, feelings, and reasons for behaving in a particular way. Introspection is go into soul searching and see what you are, what your thoughts are, and what are the basis of those belief or thoughts. So these situations are best resolved with the minimum of introspection or self-analysis. So when we had an enormous time in our hand because of lockdown, so a lot of people self-analyzed and they decided to prioritize their life. So the activities that they used to prioritize earlier went on back burner, and they started prioritizing differently, right? So because they went into introspection, they introspected their life, they introspected their activities, and came to a conclusion that they should have a different kind of style now, right? So this whole pandemic has forced a lot of people to go into introspection, what their priorities are, what their choices are, and what mistake they had been making so far, right? So that is what introspection is. A bit of philosophical word, but same time, it's a word which can help all of us. Retrospect. Retro is always for old, past, right? So you see some parties being organized on retro theme, where people are asked to come attired in a character who was famous in the past, who was famous in ancient times, right? So that is retro. So retro look parties. Retrospect, spect is to see, retro is to back, past. So looking in the past. So thinking about a past event or situation, often with a different opinion of it from the one you had at the time in retrospect, right? So when you retrospect, you try to see situation from different perspective, usually different from the perspective you had when you were in that situation, right? So that is what is retrospect. So when you retrospect, what do you feel you should have done differently in your school days? When you retrospect, what do you think you could have avoided when you were in college? So when you retrospect, that means when you go back and look in the college days, when you go cast your mind back to your college or school days, what would you have done differently? So retrospect is to look back, all right? So when we retrospect on Indian history, we see we have not learned from our mistakes, right? So the mistakes as a country that we had been making, we still are making those mistakes, right? So when we retrospect. So in a larger context, we can use this for those events which happen in the course of a country or in the past of a country. All right? So retrospect, introspect, next word is prospect. So you're targeting for MBA, you're targeting CAT. You're targeting CAT in order to do MBA from a prestigious college of India. So what do you see the prospects of doing MBA from this college, specific college? What do you see is going to be the prospect of doing MBA in this emerging market? So prospects are future, outlook. So prospects, how do you see future? Future looking, forward looking is prospect, right? So the possibility that something will happen, prospect of something. So that there is no immediate prospect of peace. There is no immediate prospect of getting vaccine of corona, right? So that is, though that sounds a bit pessimistic, but just a sentence, take it as a sentence only. So there is no immediate prospect of peace, right? So prospect, that means there is no hope in coming future for peace. All right, circumspect. Now circumspect, we did this root yesterday as well. Circumscribe, if you remember, we did root scribe for writing. So circumscribe is to limit something. Circum is to circle. So here the word is circumspect. Circumspect comes for a person who is extremely vigilant and cautious, who looks around him, right? Who is always careful and cautious about his surrounding is circumspect. So thinking very carefully about something before doing it, because there may be risk involved. So circumspect is being extremely cautious about your environment, right? So when you are cautious, you are careful, you are vigilant, you are circumspect because you look around, right? Another word that I have not incorporated in this slide could be spectacular or spectacle, right? So IPL is a grand sporting spectacle in India, right? It's a spectacle, that means something which is watched by a lot of people, something which is worth watching, right? So spectacle. Spectacles, when you put an S into spectacle, that becomes your glasses, right? So spectacles are glasses. When you remove S from spectacles, it becomes spectacle, so that becomes a sight to behold, a sight to watch. Spectacular. So spectacular is something which is magnificent. Spectacular view of Taj Mahal at the night of Sharad Purnima. So spectacular is something which is beautiful to behold, right? So that is spectacular. So spect comes for seeing something. To introspect, retrospect is to look back into the past. Prospect is to look ahead. Circumspect is to be cautious and vigilant. All right. So very quickly, fill the appropriate word in the blank and see if you can apply this understanding. He was very dash in his financial affairs, taking extreme care of all details. Circumspect, retrospect, introspect. As we just discussed the meaning of this word, I hope you can easily come to your answer. The answer is going to be circumspect. All right. So very quickly, let's take a quick recap of all the roots we did. We did alter, that comes to change. Alteration is to change something. Altercation is bickering, fight, argument. Alternate is happening one after the other. Alternative is another option, right? Alter ego is other half of your personality, other part of your personality usually, which is dissimilar. Altruist is a person who is selfless, who thinks about others before himself. Gregarious is a person who is very sociable. GRE, root word comes from grouping. Gregarious is a person who loves to be in a group. Congregate is to gather in a huge group for religious purposes. Segregate is to go away from the group, depart from the group. Aggregate is a total number of small amount or items. Egregious is extremely bad, outstandingly bad, away from the group, but for a standing out from the group, but for a bad reason. Placate comes from root PLAC, that means to calm somebody down, to pacify someone. Implacable, somebody who cannot be calmed down. Complacent is somebody who is too much satisfied with something or about himself. Placid is calm, calmness. Placebo is calming effect, which is used in substance to calm somebody. Vociferous is speaking loudly and confidently, assertively. Vocal is to express your opinion clearly, what you feel. Equivocal is not taking a direct position, not taking a definite or a clear stand on an issue. Unequivocal, clear, definite. Unequivocal is categorical. Advocate is to espouse an idea or to support an idea. Spect is for seeing, looking. So introspect is to look within, retrospect is to go in past, prospect is to look into future, and circumspect is to look around, that is to be vigilant. Spectacular is something which is magnificent, amazing, and spectacle is something which is worth watching. All right. Thank you very much for attending the session and being part of this video. I would like to give you a piece of information about the mock test which is going to be conducted by Unacademy on its platform. The mock test is going to be free. It is named as Catalyst, right? So the mock test is going to be free, and detailed analysis of the mock will be given by the faculty members of their respective domain, right? So the quant is going to be taken up by a faculty who has extensive experience of quant, and LRDI will be taken up by somebody who has been teaching LRDI, right? Same will be by verbal ability, right? So you will get to see the detailed analysis of the mock paper, and you will also see what mistakes you made in your mock test and how you scored that much score, right? You will be given detailed explanation of the test paper so that you can see what mistakes you made and how these mistakes can be corrected for next mock, right? So please do attend this mock series. This is definitely going to give you a competitive edge for your exam this year CAT as well as for other management exams. All right. Thank you very much.